Let's watch this unfold. When he dropped the breakup bomb, Serafina finally noticed the hardware. On his finger, that engagement ring, long gone. She absolutely lost her mind and screamed, "Where is your engagement ring?" He swatted her hand right away and fired back, "Well, where is yours?" Her face went completely pale and then straight to green. Suddenly, she bolted straight into the bedroom, frantically tearing the whole place upside down. He just stood there calmly, watching her panic. He thought to himself, good luck finding that, because a month ago, that precious childhood friend of hers sent him a photo of her ring. As for his own ring, Quinn had taken that away from him ages ago, too. So what caused all this insane drama? Right before the party, her childhood sweetheart made a totally wild bet. With our guy 7 times, actually. He bet that Serafina would abandon him and walk straight out of the party, thinking back on every single ruined anniversary and birthday where she completely ghosted him. He accepted that bet, only this time the stakes were his final shred of hope. Every time she ditched him for that best friend, he sent her a number. She once asked him what it meant. He jokingly told her, "Every time you stab me in the heart, I will keep a tally. At 100, the man who loved you will die. And I am gone for good." At number 99, she honestly did not care. Even at 100, she felt absolutely nothing. That is, until the day of the engagement party, because of one single phone call from that childhood friend. Serafina canceled the wedding. His heart, which loved her for 7 long years, finally dried up and died. She knew perfectly well that abandoning him at their engagement party would destroy his dignity, turning him into a massive, pathetic public joke. Even when he swallowed his pride and begged, Serafina just coldly dropped one sentence, "The engagement is off." Then she left. As she walked out, a smug text from Quinn arrived. "I win." A bitter smile formed on his face. "You and I know this hurts." 7 years trying to melt her frozen heart, becoming the ultimate clown in the end. One single call from Quinn and she would toss him aside instantly. It did not matter if it was his birthday, their dating anniversary, or a massive planned date. And now, even at a huge event like their engagement party, she did not hesitate to throw him under the bus. A colossal wave of pain crashed over him, but honestly, he also felt this overwhelming, crazy sense of pure relief. He stubbornly held onto this toxic love for 7 years. 7 years of swallowing insults and enduring her cold indifference. Honestly, he had hit his absolute breaking point ages ago. Today's massive engagement party was just the final test between them, and clearly she could not care less. So he took a deep breath, opened his chat with Serafina, and boldly sent out one final message: "Let's break up." The second it went through, he instantly blocked her. He grabbed his suitcase and headed straight for the elevator. Behind him, a mocking laugh echoed loudly. It was a grating sound he had despised for 7 straight years. It was Serafina's cousin, Veronica. The person she literally worshipped most in the entire world was her goddess cousin, Serafina. In Veronica's eyes, Serafina deserved the absolute best man alive, not some country bumpkin like our guy. Because of this, she had picked pointless fights countless times. Let's see what she says as she struts over to him, looking incredibly smug. "Oh, the engagement is off. How totally humiliating." We're trying to sneak away quietly. "Don't worry. How could I let you leave that easily?" Veronica clapped her hands. "Everyone come out here." Instantly, 6 of her delinquent friends rushed out in unison. They aimed their phone cameras right at his face, ready to record his humiliation. Veronica's lips curled into a venomous smirk. "Thomas getting dumped feels great, doesn't it?" The others were all laughing, their eyes dripping with pure mockery. His heart felt completely numb, but watch closely. He just crossed his arms with a half smile. "How does it feel?" "Well, it's not exactly pleasant, but I imagine no matter how unpleasant it is, it doesn't compare to the feeling of being an illegitimate child like you." The noisy room instantly froze solid. Veronica's face turned completely pale. Sure, she was Serafina's cousin, but they honestly didn't share a single drop of blood because she was an illegitimate child born from her mother's scandalous affair. That was literally Veronica's deepest, most humiliating wound. She went completely ballistic. You are asking for death, as she screamed. She raised her hand high, aiming a vicious slap right at his face. He was not about to play nice. He casually dodged to the side and delivered a swift kick right to her stomach. Veronica stumbled back a few steps and totally collapsed onto the floor. She looked at him in absolute disbelief. You dare hit me? Aren't you afraid I will tell my sister? Thomas glared at her coldly. Grow up, you giant toddler. I only tolerated you before to save Serafina's face. Now that I do not even want Serafina, do you really think I need to tolerate you? He didn't bother wasting another breath. He grabbed his suitcase, completely ready to leave. Veronica screeched at the top of her lungs. Fine, if you are so tough, don't ever come back. Don't come crawling back, crying and begging my sister to take you in. He stopped dead in his tracks. Seeing this, a look of utter disgust flashed across Veronica's face, thinking he regretted it already. You shameless lapdog, if you don't want me to snitch to my sister, get on your knees and lick my shoes right now. He might just generously let you off. A cold smirk crept onto his lips. He looked directly at one of Veronica's friends, who was still recording everything with their phone. He stared calmly right into the lens. I, Thomas, am entirely done with Serafina. In this lifetime, I will absolutely never marry her. Early next morning, Serafina finally returned to the massive villa. She sat on the sofa, rubbing her temples, her icy face carrying a hint of exhaustion. Thomas, come massage my head, right after saying this, a really long time passed without any movement. If it were the old days, the second she got home, Thomas would have happily rushed over, asked all about her day, massaged her shoulders and made her laugh. But today, we know the massive villa was freezing cold. There was zero sign of him. Only Auntie Martha stood awkwardly at the kitchen door, speaking up very timidly. Mr. Thomas has not come back since yesterday. A flicker of annoyance crossed Serafina's face. She obviously assumed he was just throwing another tantrum. She pulled out her phone, opened their chat, and immediately saw his breakup text. Serafina let out a cold laugh of pure irritation. She grabbed her phone and contacted her secretary. Lucy, you must book flight to the U.S. immediately for the conference negotiations. Auntie Martha could not bear it and took a small step forward. Mr. Thomas didn't come home all night. Aren't you worried at all? After all, an engagement is a huge deal. And you canceled just like that. Serafina clearly caught the underlying bite in Auntie Martha's words. Her lips twitched. I don't have time to coddle him. Dropping that icy line, she walked right out. U.S. business trip would last a full week. She was giving Thomas time to cool off. She figured he'd just obediently come crawling back. Meanwhile, Thomas boarded a flight straight back to his hometown, Tuengfen, returning to his cozy, little Western style home in Tuengfen. He finally felt a sense of belonging, something he hadn't felt in 7 years stuck in the capital. Just as Thomas reached for his door, the door to the neighboring house flew open and a figure rushed out. Recognizing her immediately, he called out cheerfully, Bianca. Now, Bianca's heart was completely burning with absolute panic. Suddenly, hearing that familiar voice, she whipped her head around it. Pure shock, seeing him standing right there, smiling brightly. Thomas, you're back. He gave a soft chuckle. Yeah, Bianca, I'm back. She was the one who watched him grow up, the classic girl next door, practically an older sister to him. They always shared a massive bond. It's just that for the past few years, he was trapped in the capital, completely revolving around Serafina. With zero chance to visit, Bianca stood there, stunned for a split second before pure joy exploded in her eyes. She practically sprinted over to him. Thomas, you have to do me a massive favor. What is it? Marry me. He instinctively took a massive step back. This was completely insane. Bianca hurriedly explained, her voice totally choked with sobs. Arthur got into a bad accident in the Czech Republic. He left a child behind. I have to go get the baby, but there Laws require me to be married to adopt the child. I really have no other choice right now. Thomas, please help me get a marriage certificate. As soon as I get back, we can divorce immediately. Guys, at this desperate point, Bianca couldn't care about anything else. Thomas felt his heart sting, sensing a really terrible premonition. His voice completely trembled. Brother Arthur, how is he? A single tear escaped Bianca's eye. He's dead. Thomas stopped dead in his tracks. When he was a kid, Brother Arthur took care of him countless times. He was a gentle, yet incredibly strong older brother figure to him. He never imagined that right now, his final flesh and blood was in such a dangerous spot. They absolutely had to bring that child back at all costs. Thomas immediately said, Bianca, wait for me. I'll grab my ID and go register with you. Now, getting married is actually a super simple process. A man and a woman head over to the Civil Affairs Bureau, snap a photo, notarize it, read the vows, stamp a bright red seal, and boom, marriage certificate done. Bianca tightly clutched the marriage certificate, thanked him profusely, and immediately rushed off to the airport. Time was incredibly tight right now. Every single passing second meant the poor child was in more danger. Let's fast forward. A week flew by. Serafina returned from the US in her luxury car, just glancing at her fancy watch. It was exactly dinner time, so she told her executive assistant Lucy, contact Thomas. Tell him to meet me at Starlight Restaurant for dinner. Yes, right away, Lucy replied respectfully, quickly pulling out her phone to call him. No one picked up. She frowned and reported, Ms. Serafina. Thomas isn't answering at all. Serafina furrowed her brows. Right in her hand, she held an exquisite jewelry box containing a luxury watch she had won at an auction. In the US, she openly admitted she was wrong for canceling their engagement party last time. She needed to show sincerity, but now that he wasn't answering her, big mistake. The endless calls completely irritated her. Her face turned freezing cold, violently snapping the gift box shut. Back to the villa, she ordered. Eventually, the sleek Maybach arrived at the gates. Now watch closely. Serafina stepped out, her expression absolute ice. The massive villa was completely bustling with busy maids. Serafina immediately tracked down Auntie Martha, who was still working in the kitchen. Where's Thomas? A deep look of pure worry flashed across the old woman's face. Mr. Thomas hasn't returned once since that awful day. I've called him endlessly, but zero answer. Miss, I'm so incredibly worried that Mr. Thomas might do something terribly foolish. Serafina's perfect brows simply knitted tightly, but her voice stayed unwavering. He wouldn't. Thomas was always a warm sunshine boy, super optimistic and relentlessly positive. Someone like him would never even think of doing something crazy. Maybe this time, breaking their engagement actually made him furious. Serafina just sighed, pulled out her phone, and sent him a quick text. Come back, I'll make it up with an even bigger engagement party. It sent, but what she immediately got back was a glaring red exclamation mark. Turns out Thomas actually blocked her. Serafina laughed out loud from pure burning anger. He used to throw little tantrums, sure, but he never blocked her. Reacting this wildly, she felt absolutely zero sense of actual crisis, only finding the whole thing completely ridiculous. She turned toward Lucy, waiting quietly at the door. Find out exactly where Thomas is. Lucy quickly pulled the info. Miss Thomas headed straight back to his hometown, Twang. Then a look of highly exasperated amusement crossed Serafina's gorgeous face. What was he trying to pull? Running all the way out to the countryside? She immediately ordered Lucy, go fetch him back. Meanwhile, Thomas had honestly been living his absolute best life in Tuangthan for a whole week. Since the old courtyard hadn't seen care in ages, he paid someone to fully renovate it. Then he planted his absolute favorite flowers, lovely camellias. He even cleared out a small dirt patch to plant spicy chili peppers. In just 1 week, that whole garden completely transformed into magic. Lately, our guy was actually scouting for a proper storefront right in Tuang Thon. He was totally planning to open a beautiful flower shop. While watering his yard plants, a sudden knock rattled the front door. He assumed it was just the fertilizer delivery, but when he Swung it open, standing there in full corporate mode was Lucy, his mouth simply twitched. He instantly tried slamming the door totally shut, but Lucy jammed her hand inside to forcefully block it. Mr. Thomas, Miss Serafina sent me to bring you right back. Since he physically couldn't close it, he just gave up. Crossing his arms, he smirked. Oh. Get on your knees and beg me. Maybe then I'll actually go back. A super rare crack of genuine anger broke through Lucy's perfectly stoic face. Mr. Thomas, you really should fully understand that the dynamic between you and Miss Serafina has honestly never been equal. The simple fact she sent me to pick you up gives you a massive amount of face here. If you keep throwing this little tantrum, you'll only hurt yourself. Every person really needs to know their proper place. Thomas raised one eyebrow, staring at her leisurely. Honestly, Lucy showing up meant Serafina was finally willing to lower her massive ego and pride, a total first in 7 long years. But did he care? He stared back coldly. I know my place perfectly well, which is exactly why I left Serafina behind. I also heavily hope assistant Lucy knows hers. Leave my house right now, or definitely don't blame me when I let the dogs out to bite you. Lucy's eyes turned to ice, filled with pure arrogant contempt, playing hard to get. Thomas, you really think you're so smart? Pulling this stunt, do you honestly think Serafina cares? If she actually cared about you, she wouldn't have canceled the engagement, so drop the act, do not push your luck. Thomas clenched his fists tight. His heart ached so much he could barely breathe. The canceled engagement completely crushed his dignity, but between you and me, he was the one who willingly lowered himself, acting like a total fool, putting himself in such a pathetic spot that Serafina's inner circle felt they didn't even have to respect him at all. Thomas gave Lucy a soft chuckle, pointing up to the second floor of his house. Look up. What is that? Lucy glanced up and spotting the security camera hanging right there, her pupils shrank. Thomas crossed his arms, giving her a brutal smile. Tell me, if I leak this video of you begging so humiliatingly to Serafina, or just post it online, what exactly will happen? You are nothing but a high-priced lapdog that Serafina pays to keep around. Who gave you the guts to act like you run the show? I will say this once. Serafina and I are totally done. Get out of here right now, and I will pretend you were never here. Otherwise, the whole internet gets to see your true colors. Lucy's face flushed with pure rage. She glared at the lens, gritting her teeth as she spat out pure venom. You better walk the talk. Do not ever come crawling back to Serafina. You really need to know your place. You could never compare to Mr. Quinn. You do not deserve her. With that, she turned to leave. Thomas followed her to the door, a wicked smile on his lips. Careful not to fall flat on your face. The very second Thomas said that, Lucy tripped. She face planted into the dirt in the most awkward, completely ungraceful posture imaginable. Face first, naturally. Thomas covered his eyes. Ouch, that fall did not look light at all. When she finally lifted her head, her face was already bruised and battered. She shot our main character a look of pure hatred. You jinx, clutching her face, she limped away. A massive wave of excitement erupted in Thomas's eyes. His crow's beak jinx superpower was officially back. He had this ability since he was a kid. Arriving in the capital, Thomas was fearless. He was afraid of nothing and absolutely no one. But Serafina hated it. She always scolded him for using his jinxing to cause trouble. Gradually, Thomas started doubting and even hating himself, and the ability just vanished. He never expected it to come back now. After that, he spun around, went straight back to his little courtyard, and happily continued gardening. They could not contact him anyway. He had already chucked his phone into the city's moat. The day he left, meanwhile, a badly battered and bruised Lucy dragged herself into her car and called Serafina. Madam Serafina, Mr. Thomas absolutely refuses to come back. Heavy silence lingered on the other end for a long time. Lucy carefully added, Madam Serafina, if Mr. Thomas really does not want to come back, then maybe. Serafina's icy voice sliced right through the receiver. You find a way to bring him back. To me, beg him if you have to. With that, she hung up, leaving a pale, Lucy sitting in the car. She gripped her phone so tightly, taking a deep breath. Not long after, Thomas heard another loud knock. This time, he genuinely thought that it was the soil delivery, but when he opened it, you guessed it, Lucy's completely bruised and swollen face. Thomas asked in pure annoyance, "Why haven't you crawled away yet?" Lucy was boiling with absolute rage internally, but she bowed deeply before him. "Mr. Thomas, my attitude earlier was totally out of line. Please be the bigger person and do not stoop to my level," Lucy insists. "Miss Serafina actually cares. She's waiting for you in the capital. Please come back with me." Thomas is genuinely shocked. He definitely didn't expect Serafina to make Lucy swallow her pride like this. It seems she really couldn't bear to let him go. Too bad Thomas doesn't need her anymore. He slams the door shut, totally ignoring her. But Lucy, she's glued to his front door like a leech. Seeing he can't shake her, Thomas grabs his backpack, sneaks right out the back door and takes off on a trip. Lucy stands guard all day. When she finally realizes he hasn't stepped out once, she knows something is very wrong. Suddenly, a massive headache brews. She realizes things are completely spiraling out of control. Right then, Serafina calls. Lucy picks up immediately. "Miss Serafina," she stammers. "Did you bring him back?" Serafina demands coldly. Lucy swallows hard. "No, Mr. Thomas secretly bought a ticket to Vanthan." Serafina instantly hangs up. Her stunning face is absolutely covered in frost. She finds his number and dials immediately, but it just rings endlessly until it automatically hangs up. He still isn't answering. Serafina stares at the black screen, her face totally devoid of emotion. She calls her other assistant, Luke. "Track Thomas in Vanthan, book the earliest flight. I'm getting him myself." On the other end, Luke pauses for a quick second before replying, "Yes, ma'am, but you and I know Thomas is currently road tripping along the crazy scenic routes of Vanthan. He plans to spend a month or two just traveling. Those majestic mountains and crystal clear rivers make his heavy emotional baggage feel completely insignificant now. After a massive day of fun, it's 9 p.m. by the time he returns to the homestay. As soon as Thomas opens the living room door, he spots a highly familiar figure waiting. He rubs his eyes, then just stares wide-eyed. "Serafina, why are you here?" She has her phone out, dialing a number. She looks up, her freezing gaze locking right onto him in the doorway. "Why didn't your phone ring?" Thomas freezes for a second, then shrugs, threw the old number away. Serafina just nods, putting her phone away. "I'll get you a new one when we get back. Pack your things, you're coming with me." His lips twitch into a smirk as he instinctively takes a step back. "Serafina, we already broke up." She frowns hard. "Just because I canceled the engagement party, you're holding a grudge this long?" Thomas purses his lips, staying completely silent. She takes a long stride toward him and sighs. "I'll make it up to you with a grander engagement party." "Stop being mad. Okay, look, I even came all this way to find you." Thomas laughs out loud, so he should be grateful. "Thank you for your high and mighty charity." "Serafina, I don't need your handouts, and I don't need you. Let's break up." Hearing him bring up breaking up again, Serafina's patience totally vanishes. Her face instantly turns freezing cold. "Break up? Could you even bear to?" Her voice drips with absolute arrogance and disdain. Those words feel like a knife plunging straight into his chest. Thomas takes a deep breath, looks right at her, his eyes totally resolute. "Watch me." He points toward the door. "Now, please leave." The calm, icy look in his eyes makes Serafina's proud brows twitch. For 7 whole years, in front of her, Thomas was always this blazing sun, never cold, but right now he makes her feel like she's looking at a complete stranger, especially that freezing gaze. It made her incredibly uncomfortable. Suddenly, a sharp cramp hit her stomach. She massaged her temples. "Thomas, stop throwing a tantrum. You know I'm incredibly busy. I don't have time to coddle you. Just be a good boy." The exhaustion on her face was entirely real. She took a brutal red-eye flight just to get here, arriving at the homestay past 10 a.m. She hadn't slept a single wink, just sitting there waiting. For Thomas, she was finally showing vulnerability. He should have just been satisfied, taken the out and gone back with her. Instead, watch this. Thomas took a few steps back, staring at her. With eyes totally dead, completely devoid of love. Serafina, I don't need you to coddle me's you never did before, and I sure don't need it now. We're done here. He turned to leave. If you won't walk away, then I will. But right as Thomas turned his back, a heavy thud echoed behind him. Startled, he spun back around, only to see Serafina totally collapsed. On the floor, right on cue, Luke sprinted past him and crouched beside her. Miss Serafina, are you all right? Luke's face was pale with pure panic. He glared up and yelled at Thomas. Miss Serafina took a red-eye flight just to find you. She hasn't had a single sip of water since yesterday. Mr. Thomas, you are truly cold-blooded. But Thomas, he just calmly pulled out his phone, dialed emergency services, quickly explained the situation, and hung up. I called an ambulance for her. Honestly, that's not exactly cold-blooded, right? With that, Thomas simply turned to leave. Luke stared at his retreating back in utter shock. You're not coming to the hospital to take care of her. Thomas didn't even break his stride. I'm not a doctor. What good would me being there actually do? Severe stomach pain made Serafina curl into a tight ball. Through her blurry vision, she watched his resolute retreating back. But get this, running into Serafina was a seriously annoying buzzkill. Thomas lost all motivation to stay in Vanthan, so he immediately hailed a cab to Hothan to continue his trip. There was absolutely no way he was letting Serafina ruin his vibe. Meanwhile, Serafina was hooked up to an IV drip at the hospital. Her pale, exhausted face had finally regained some color. Luke bought her a warm bowl of porridge. Serafina, the doctor said you should eat some warm porridge for your stomach. Half lying on that hospital bed, she slowly fluttered her eyes open and took the bowl right from Luke. She opened the lid, just normal millet porridge. It didn't smell particularly good, and honestly, it didn't look appetizing either. Every previous time she was hospitalized for stomach issues, Thomas had been the one taking care of her. The porridge he made was always sweet, fragrant, and beautifully presented. She closed her eyes tight. Her mind was entirely filled with the haunting image of Thomas walking away without a single backward glance. She had never seen him act so cold. While forcing down a tiny bite, she asked, "Where is he?" Luke answered slowly, "He already left for Hothan." Serafina's movements completely paused. Then she let out a dark, soft chuckle. "He runs fast." Luke hesitated before finally opening his mouth. "Miss Serafina, Mr. Thomas is clearly just playing hard to get to attract your attention. If you keep indulging him like this." Serafina's eyes snapped right up, completely filled with pure glacial frost. "Assistant Luke, since when is it your turn to lecture me on my personal life?" Luke jumped in fear, hastily bowing his head in pure apology. "I am so sorry, Miss Serafina. I overstepped." "Get out," she ordered. Coldly, pale-faced, Luke retreated out. His expression turned ugly as bitter resentment boiled deep in his heart. He pulled out his phone and made a secret call. The other side picked up fast. "Mr. Quinn." Meanwhile, Serafina finished her bland porridge and Serafina closed her eyes to rest. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. Quinn's name flashed on the screen. She answered. Quinn's painfully weak voice came through. "Serafina, where are you right now?" "My chest hurts so badly." Serafina stayed completely calm. "I am currently in Vanthan." "If your chest hurts, let Dr. Holly check it. Rest up." But Quinn pushed further. "Can you come see me tomorrow? I really need you." Serafina just went completely silent. "I cannot do that," flat out rejected. The other end of the line dropped dead silent. "Serafina, why are you in Vanthan?" She kept nothing back. "Thomas is over there." Quinn's voice instantly shifted, sounding super guilty. "Did you cancel that big engagement party because I had a medical episode and called you? Is that why Thomas is so mad?" "This is all my fault. I will explain everything." Serafina frowned hard. "This has absolutely nothing to do with you. I made that choice. He is angry at me. He does not need any apologies from you. Just focus on your own health." Suddenly, a heavy sob echoed through the speaker. "How is it not my fault? How could I forget?" It was your actual engagement day. If only I had never called you, Serafina. Felt a massive headache brewing. Still, dealing with Quinn, she kept her tone incredibly patient. Stop overthinking everything. It is not your fault. The very next second, Dr. Holly's absolute panic erupted over the phone. Quinn, what is wrong? Serafina's heart tightened up. Dr. Holly yelled right into the receiver. Serafina, listen. Quinn felt incredibly guilty and got so worked up that he completely passed out. Serafina's elegant brows locked together in stress. His body is weak. Please watch over him. I really cannot leave this place right now. Dr. Holly's voice suddenly flared with anger. Serafina, how can you be acting so foolish? Thomas is just throwing a massive childish tantrum. He cannot live without you. He will come crawling back soon. Right now, Quinn is absolutely the one who desperately needs you. Put Quinn first. Listening to this, Serafina felt an overwhelming wave of pure exhaustion. To everyone else, Thomas was just making a huge scene. Was Thomas really just a troublemaker to them? But in Serafina's eyes, he was always so understanding, obedient, and gentle. Over the years, had she not spent so much effort on him, Thomas had always brought her absolute peace. Her voice suddenly went ice cold. Holly, I cannot put Quinn first forever. Someday in the future, I plan to get married and have kids. My future husband and my children will be my #1 priority. As for staying right by Quinn's side, you are literally a doctor. You can treat him way better than me. With that, she hung up the phone. Back in the hospital room, Quinn was lying there, having heard every single brutal word. Whatever color remained in his sickly pale face completely drained away. Dr. Holly stood there, absolutely stunned that Serafina would actually say such things. She quickly tried comforting him. Quinn, do not overthink this at all. You are still the most important person in Serafina's heart. It is simply because this time Thomas is genuinely furious. She is just giving him an easy way out. Under the covers, Quinn balled his fists hard, a truly toxic glare flashing in his eyes. Meanwhile, as for Thomas, he had visited tons of flower shops, collecting a stack of business cards. He figured once he opened his own shop in Tuang Thon, he would use them as core suppliers. He was so incredibly busy he completely lost track of time. Online rumors claimed a legendary steakhouse existed in Hothan. You literally had to enter an online lottery just to score a single table. Only the insanely lucky ever got to eat there. Before arriving in Hothan, Thomas had entered that exact lottery. Suddenly, a text chimed. He won a 7 p.m. slot. Thomas realized that walking away from a toxic relationship did absolute wonders for his luck. That evening, he arrived at the upscale steakhouse, flashing his reservation. Number 9. The waiter immediately bowed with deep respect. Please follow me, Mr. Thomas. They escorted him right to a private dining room door. He blinked in total surprise. Thomas was eating alone. Why the fancy private room setup? But the second he stepped inside, yeah, you and I know this trap, he instinctively spun around to leave, but the heavy door slammed completely shut. It was locked tight. Thomas let out a bitter, frustrated laugh, turning back. He crossed his arms, glaring icy daggers at Serafina. She just sat there, looking totally high and mighty. What is the meaning of this? She pointed right next to her. Didn't you want steak? Sit down. Thomas threw his hands up. Sorry, but he refused to share a table with his toxic ex. It just made him completely nauseous. Serafina kept her face ice cold, showing absolutely zero emotion. I never agreed to break up. Thomas chuckled bitterly. A breakup only needs one person to agree. She stood up, her cold voice softening slightly. Canceling the engagement was a stupid mistake on my part. Making you suffer was entirely my fault. It won't happen again. I will throw you an even grander engagement party. Thomas immediately threw his hands up. Stop right there. We are broken up. There will be 0 future engagement parties. You and Quinn are a perfect match, and I was clearly just the pathetic third wheel. Now that I have broken up with you, consider that grand party a gift to Quinn. Go tie the knot with him and seriously stop Bothering me, okay? Serafina looked genuinely helpless. I have told you so many times before, Quinn is just a younger brother to me. I have absolutely zero romantic feelings for him. Why will you not believe me? Thomas rubbed his forehead. When it came to Quinn, reasoning with Serafina was totally impossible. He just flat out shrugged. Whether you two are siblings or secret lovers is your own business. It has absolutely nothing to do with me. Serafina, since we are broken up, we should stop dragging this messy drama out. Serafina sneered coldly. Am I the one dragging this out over the past 7 years? Who exactly was dragging who down? His heart seized tight. Memories of those miserable 7 years flashed past, and Thomas truly wanted nothing more than to slap himself hard across the face, realizing that she had totally misspoken. Serafina tried to fix her massive mistake. He immediately stared straight at her with ice-cold eyes. You are absolutely right. For 7 years I was the one dragging you down. Thomas agreed. I will swallow the bitter pill, but now I am completely done. I am letting go. Serafina, her face instantly went frigid. You call these past 7 years a bitter pill? Thomas did not want to keep arguing with this woman. He tapped the thick door, demanding she have someone finally open it. Serafina swallowed down her rising anger. She refused to keep going in endless circles over the breakup anymore. She actually knew she was in the wrong here. It was normal for him to throw a fit, right? But she felt this was unnecessary. She pointed coldly at the table. Sit and eat first. Thomas knew her tricks perfectly. Back then, it was always like this. If she stayed icy and ignored him, he always would just cool off and things would magically reset. Before, he was drowning deep in pathetic self-doubt, but now, he had finally stepped back, looking at the truth from a total outsider perspective. Serafina was using her classic silent treatment. She had. You and I are watching payback. After 7 years of silent treatment, he gave a bland smile and pointed right at the door. Fall. The second the word left his mouth, a massive crash shook the private room's door. Every single screw on that heavy door popped right out, scattering across the floor. Then the whole thing just collapsed outward. With a wild bang, Serafina stood there completely stunned by the sight. His jinxing ability was fully back. She knew all about his bad luck powers. Initially, she thought it was just amusing, but later, she absolutely hated it, always scolding him to stop talking. Utter nonsense. He just smirked, staring at her with cold amusement. Yeah, his crazy superpower was back. He warned her to break up cleanly and just stop lingering around. Otherwise, her precious little brother Quinn might seriously run into some terrible luck. She knew exactly how lethal his curses were. She had traveled all this way to find him, mostly out of sheer guilt over the engagement. But right now, he was totally using her biggest weakness against her. He didn't believe she could actually stay stubborn here. After all, Quinn was her absolute bottom line. He glanced over and, sure enough, caught those intense flames of anger igniting in her eyes. He smirked coldly. Inside, Quinn was clearly still the most important thing to her. He finally turned to leave, but right at the door, his wrist was suddenly gripped super tight. He frowned and yelled, Serafina, what are you doing? Let go of me. Her freezing cold face didn't change one bit as she violently dragged him outside. She shoved him into the car and locked every door instantly. He glared right at her. What the hell did she even want? She didn't answer, only ordering the confused driver to go. The car started up immediately. Pure anger suffocated him. Inside, you and I can feel the tense silence between them. Her long, slender fingers curled up just a bit. In the past, if she ignored him like this, he would have tried everything to coax her, constantly telling goofy jokes, doing whatever it took to make her smile again, but not anymore. The fancy car drove straight for the airport. For 90 long minutes, neither of them said a single word. He didn't even try speaking, just closing his eyes to rest. The fact she found him so incredibly fast was all thanks to her massive data network. As long as he stepped near a camera or used his ID, she could pinpoint his exact location. She had even chartered a private jet just for this, dragging him forcefully Right aboard, the ultra-luxurious plane had two dedicated flight attendants waiting. Our guy didn't even bother looking around. He just marched straight to the cabin's fancy bed and completely crashed. Over those past 7 years, he had drained way too much emotional energy. Already, he wasn't about to torture himself anymore when he couldn't even fight. Back right now, he figured he'd just follow her to the capital, seeing him actually lie down and shut his eyes. The anger in Serafina's heart definitely flared, but she swallowed it all down. A helpless little smile hung on her lips. She quickly waved the flight attendants back to their cabin. Then she actually laid down beside him, her soft hands sliding right under his shirt. He reflexively shoved her away hard. She glared at him, her face turning super dark. She sneered, asking who exactly drugged her, and climbed into her bed. Wasn't this what he wanted? Bringing that up totally ignited the anger our guy had been suppressing for years. He told Serafina he had truly liked her once, but he still had some damn self-respect. He would never stoop so incredibly low as to drug anyone. Did she think she was that precious? Was he really that desperate? He scoffed. Did she know how terrible she was in bed, just like a lifeless log? This mess started 3 years ago. Thomas attended a banquet with Serafina. He poured her some wine, completely unaware someone had spiked it. Suddenly she burned up, her entire vibe flipping. She dragged him into a room without letting him say a single word. That became his first night with Serafina. Back then, Thomas felt genuinely thrilled, but the very next morning, Veronica pointed right at his face and called him cheap, accusing him of drugging her cousin. She literally called him human trash. Thomas was completely stunned. Everyone claimed he was just so desperate for Serafina that he would use any underhanded tactic, even something as despicable as drugging her. He felt totally wronged and panicked. He just wanted to quickly explain to Serafina that he was innocent. He honestly had zero clue how the drug reached her glass. She gave him this reassuring smile, telling him she knew it was not him. He assumed she believed him, but let me tell you, she never actually believed him. For a single second, her face turned incredibly ugly. What did he just say? Thomas sneered. Did she honestly think he eagerly counted down the days to the 1st and 15th of every single month? Did she really not notice how incredibly reluctant he was? Serafina was a busy woman with extremely strict rules for her entire life. Even physical intimacy was strictly scheduled for the 1st and 15th of every month. If she had a business trip or was on her period, it got postponed. So over the past 3 years, their frequency was not exactly high. Veins popped on her forehead. Massive wave of total powerlessness crashed over her. This time she clearly felt that Thomas had completely slipped out of her control, becoming someone totally different. She felt like she could not hold on to him anymore. It seemed like he did not love her anymore. Suddenly, she clutched her chest. A massive sense of loss was swelling up deep inside her, like falling from a massive height. She could not understand it. Was it not just an engagement party? Why did Thomas care so much? Back at the villa, Auntie Martha looked at him with immense pity. She told Thomas to drink this porridge to get some strength back. It was true. He needed to recover. His crow's beak ability was not incapable of cursing Serafina, but every single time he cursed, there was a heavy price to pay. Thomas gulped down the porridge in one go, set the bowl down, and smiled sweetly at her, thanking Auntie Martha for her hard work. She replied incredibly gently, telling him to rest well. Nothing was more important than his health. Thomas nodded. Now let's switch gears. As Khlo entered a private lounge, Serafina was throwing back glasses of liquor. Her best friend, Khlo, sat down right next to her, asking what was going on, drinking away her sorrows. That was not like her at all. Serafina completely ignored her, downing a freshly poured glass of whiskey in one single gulp. Mentally, she could not shake the image of Thomas's resentful eyes. For the very first time, she felt this suffocating pain in her heart. Khlo shrugged and slowly poured her friend another glass. The second it was poured, Serafina downed it instantly. Khlo noted dryly that she had a bad stomach. warning her to drink less or her house manager would nag her again. Hearing this, Serafina's hand froze. Voice choking slightly, she whispered he would not anymore. Kh. Naturally steered the conversation toward Thomas, raising a curious eyebrow. Honestly, everyone knew about the intense drama between him and Serafina, canceling such a grand engagement party on a whim, the day it happened, and Thomas left the capital forever. All right, you and I are jumping right in. Everyone bet on when Thomas would crawl back. Even Kh. joined in. Almost every elite in the city threw down some cash. She bet the absolute longest time frame, 10 days. Others guessed 1, 2, or 3 days. Absolutely no one went past 5. With so much heavy money on the line, all eyes shifted to Serafina. Today, when she actually brought Thomas back, everyone was absolutely floored. They all assumed he would pathetically return on his own. Nobody expected that Serafina would personally fetch him. None of that really mattered, though. What actually mattered was that Kh. officially won the bet. Thomas had been gone for half a month. Kh. probed. He's genuinely furious this time, huh? Suffocated by his icy attitude these past few days, Serafina just absent-mindedly asked Kh. It was only an engagement party. Is it actually worth being this furious over? Kh. just shrugged. Who knows if you don't think it matters, then it doesn't. But my little brother has been absolutely cursing you out at home for half a month straight. Carter, Kh.'s biological younger brother, rarely respected anyone in this city, but somehow, a country guy like Thomas caught his attention, and they became tight. Carter was likely the only guy in the whole capital willing to feel outraged on Thomas's behalf. Serafina just poured herself another heavy glass, gritting her teeth. He wants to break up with me. Kh. completely froze. Thomas had held on for 7 years, and now he wanted out. She turned her head, staring at Serafina in pure confusion. Isn't that a good thing? Serafina looked up, glaring at her friend with icy eyes. Kh. raised her hands. Don't look at me like that. Isn't this exactly what you wanted? Thomas was never in our league anyway. Did you seriously plan on marrying the guy? Playing around for a few years is plenty. When it comes to actual marriage, you need someone of equal social standing. Quinn isn't a bad choice. Kh. Serafina snapped coldly. That sharp attitude genuinely shocked Kh., who blurted out, "No way, are you actually serious?" Serafina didn't answer, just taking another heavy sip of alcohol. That alone showed how utterly frustrated she was. Kh. was genuinely surprised. Serafina actually drowning sorrows over love. Serafina, look, we've been best friends for years. Let me give you some real advice. It's best you don't catch feelings for Thomas. He already said he's letting go, so just let him leave. Hearing this, Serafina's hand froze right on her glass. These past few tense days, facing Thomas's cold, thorny gaze, hadn't she thought about letting go? She was born at the absolute top of the pyramid, incredibly proud her entire life. He was just a man. If this one left, she'd easily get another, but she just couldn't do it. Thinking about Thomas made her chest feel suffocated, like she couldn't even breathe. Kh. suddenly felt deep pity for her friend. If you actually care about Thomas, I gotta say you're completely screwed. Honestly, the fact that Thomas held on for 7 whole years already surprised Kh. The sheer dedication required to warm up someone as cold as Serafina for 7 straight years basically belonged in the record books. All these elites had viewed Thomas as a joke, but guess what? You and I know he wasn't anymore. The joke was Serafina. Kh. suddenly realized Serafina genuinely had feelings for Thomas. If that was true, she could only light a candle and pray for her. Thomas was incredibly stubborn. Once he finally said break up, it meant he absolutely did not want to be tangled up with Serafina anymore. Serafina just took another sip. She didn't know how to explain nor what to even say. By the time a totally drunk Serafina was hauled back at the villa, Thomas lounged on the sofa, watching a movie, totally chilling, completely unbothered. Suddenly, Kh. dropped Serafina right onto the couch and snapped at him. She is your problem now. She drank way too much. Go make her some Hangover soup. Thomas glanced at the woman reeking of booze, stood straight up, and grabbed a blanket, tossing it right over Serafina, completely covering her face and all. Then he yelled toward the kitchen, "Auntie Martha, make some hangover soup for Serafina." With that, Thomas turned and headed right upstairs. K.H. Lowe frowned hard. "You are not making it." In the past, whenever K.H. Lowe brought a drunk Serafina home, Thomas would personally take over, gently wipe her face, cook soup, and stay by her. Sighed, his eyes full of pity and love, but now he did not pause for 1 second. He shrugged. He was not her maid, plus she drank it herself, still breathing. He almost said, if she drinks herself to death, she totally deserves it. But that sounded too harsh, and Thomas hated dealing with the backlash, watching his back disappear upstairs without a single backward glance. K.H. Lowe finally understood the crushing loss Serafina must definitely be feeling right now, if an outsider like her could feel this terrifying distance. Imagine exactly how Serafina felt. Trapped in the middle of it, K.H. Lowe secretly prayed for her friend in her mind, hoping she would figure this out and end things peacefully with Thomas, or else Serafina was the one who would truly suffer. Meanwhile, Thomas went straight back to his room. Let you and I be clear, though dating, they slept in separate rooms for ages. Even on the 1st and 15th after finishing their business, she always went straight back to her own room. Suddenly, a loud knock echoed, accompanied by Serafina slurring her drunken words. Thomas opened the door. A flash of pure disgust crossed his lips. He walked straight into the bathroom, filled a huge glass with cold water, opened the door without any hesitation, and splashed the entire thing right in her face. "Serafina, if you want to act crazy on booze, do it in your own room. Do not come making a mess here." Large drops of water slid down her exquisite face, giving her this ruined beauty vibe. Before, Thomas would have definitely jumped right up to take pictures and save them instantly, but right now, he felt absolutely nothing. You and I know Thomas had loved Serafina from the exact moment he laid eyes on her at 16. It was not until he turned 18 that he gathered the courage to confess all. His relentless pursuit of her was strictly based on the fact that she was single, and so was he. Actually, at the very beginning, when he found out she had special feelings for Quinn, Thomas wanted to back out. No matter how much he liked her, he would never play third wheel, but Serafina firmly promised him right then, "Quinn is just a little brother to me. In this lifetime, there is absolutely zero possibility between us." Thomas gave her his whole heart. He thought she understood him, so he blindly trusted her. Turns out, it was just unrequited love, and he was nothing but dirt in her heart. Boom, Thomas slammed the door shut. Outside, Serafina wiped the cold water from her face. She actually had not drank that much. She just wanted to use liquid courage to make peace with him. She let out a heavy sigh. It seemed his anger over the cancelled engagement was very real and very deep. She rubbed her temples, a wave of helplessness washing right over her. Fine, let it be. She would give him some time to calm down. She would move out for a while and wait until he digested his anger before returning. Meanwhile, back in his room, Thomas was completely oblivious to her thoughts. Thomas slept like an absolute baby. Waking up around noon, he headed downstairs, sitting at the dining table for a warm meal prepared by Auntie Martha. She brought the food over, standing nervously next to him. Noticing her hesitation, Thomas flashed a gentle smile. "Auntie Martha, if you want to ask something, just ask. It's totally fine." She hesitated before finally speaking. "Thomas, are you and Miss Serafina currently having problems?" Thomas just shrugged. "We broke up." She asked cautiously if it was because of the ruined engagement party. Miss Serafina was definitely in the wrong there. Thomas sighed heavily. "You could say that, but not entirely. A person's heart doesn't freeze over in a single moment. For 7 years, Thomas loved her with everything he had, holding absolutely nothing back. But he got tired too. He felt the pain, the sadness. That love was slowly ground down bit by bit until absolutely nothing remained. That disaster of an engagement party was just the final straw that finally broke the camel's back. Auntie Martha felt incredibly sorry for our guy. She had witnessed all of Thomas's massive sacrifices over the years. He just gave her a bright smile. Don't worry, Auntie, I am totally fine. Honestly, the second they officially broke up, he felt light, as if heavy chains had been completely shattered off his body. Suddenly remembering something, Martha ran over to the TV cabinet, grabbed a small box and handed it to him. This is the phone, Miss Serafina bought you. Your old SIM card is already safely inside. Thomas didn't refuse. He turned it on and logged right into WeChat. Instantly, an absolute flood of messages poured in. He just glanced, completely ignoring the noise. Most were sent on the exact day of the canceled party just to mock him. Thomas couldn't be bothered at all. He found Carter's contact and immediately sent a message. Carter replied instantly. I heard Serafina personally brought you back home. Bro, you aren't getting back together with her, are you? Thomas just chuckled, typing back a completely ice-cold line. My heart is dead. There are absolute zero possibilities between me and Serafina anymore. Carter replied instantly. Man, any woman who can make you fall out of love with Serafina must be top tier. Bro, seriously, don't be sad. I will introduce you to some high-quality girls. Thomas couldn't help but laugh at that. Right then, a call came in. Seeing the caller ID, Thomas raised an eyebrow and calmly answered. A painfully shrill female voice blared out. Thomas, you're pretty good at playing mind games, aren't you? You chose to leave quietly, so why the hell did you come crawling right back? Thomas let out a soft, mocking laugh. Mrs. Taylor, you really have eyes absolutely everywhere. But surely you must know that your very own daughter went to pick me up, right? Don't get too smug. Her voice trembled with pure rage before abruptly switching to a freezing cold tone. Since you are back, get your ass to the main house immediately. I have important guests today. You get over here and serve them. A freezing cold sneer crept onto Thomas's lips. Victoria was Serafina's mother. She never respected him, treating him like garbage openly and secretly bullying him countless times over the years. Now watch this. His lips slowly curled into a dangerous smirk. All right, wait right there. I'm coming. Victoria sounded completely impatient. Hurry up, she snapped and hung up. Thomas instantly blocked her number. Keep waiting, you old bat. He was never showing up. From his villa to the main house, it took 40 minutes. Mrs. Taylor waited for a whole hour without seeing even a single shadow of Thomas. Her wealthy friend, Mrs. Chu, just laughed. This son-in-law of yours hasn't even officially married in, and he is already ignoring your orders. Huh, does he think he runs the whole family just because of Serafina? Does he have zero respect for his future mother-in-law? Victoria was naturally arrogant and already looked down on Thomas heavily. Now that our guy dared to stand her up, making her lose serious face in front of her rich friends. Right in front of her friends, she furiously dialed his number. Sorry, the subscriber is currently busy. Mrs. Chu covered her mouth in pure shock. Victoria, did he actually get blocked? Hearing that, Victoria's expression turned absolutely pitch black. Having successfully stood her up, our guy's mood was fantastic. He fixed himself up and went to find Carter. For lunch, they met up at their usual steakhouse. When he finally arrived, Carter was already waiting, waving excitedly when he saw him. Our guy walked over happily and gave him a solid bro hug. Carter wore a look of fake disgust but smiled. If Serafina had not dragged you back, I would never see your face again. He raised his hands in total surrender. Do not mention her anymore. Carter pulled him down into a seat. Her personally bringing you back caused a massive stir. Honestly, the mere mention of her name gave him a headache. 1, he didn't want to discuss her. 2, he was afraid she was like some lingering ghost. Ding, his phone chimed with a sudden text. Serafina, he immediately felt a headache coming on. His bad luck was acting up. Again, the second he called her a lingering ghost, she texted. He really needed to control his mouth so he wouldn't sabotage himself. Carter immediately snatched his phone to see what she said. Dinner at Lofish restaurant in 30 minutes. Carter's jaw dropped. What an insane coincidence. They were at a steakhouse called Lofish right now. He smirked. Do not worry, she will not make it. He opened his phone, screenshot her dinner invite. then snapped a picture of himself at the restaurant. He posted a status visible only to Quinn, waiting for romantic dinner. He flat out ignored Serafina's message. Meanwhile, over at the main company, Serafina had been busy all day preparing for her dinner with him, but just as her elevator reached the lobby, her phone rang. It was Quinn. She frowned and answered it. Quinn's panicked voice came right through. "Serafina, she is here, I see her. She is downstairs looking right at me. Ah, she is trying to kill me. Serafina, save me." Then came the loud sound of the phone dropping to the floor. Proving his sheer panic, Serafina's pace quickened, but her voice remained completely calm. "Lucy, head to Van Dennen Club." Sitting in her black car, she thought about their dinner. "Sorry, something came up. Go ahead and eat first." Carter and our guy saw this exact text as they were getting ready to eat. A mocking smirk appeared on his lips. "Now you and I know Carter. He practically lost his mind. Damn it, is she really that awful?" He had clearly seen his little stunt. Honestly, when he got her dinner text pretending he wasn't annoyed was a huge lie, but thankfully it didn't hurt as much as before. He knew exactly how special Quinn was to her. For 7 years, he had tasted the bitter feeling of being abandoned. At a moment's notice, hundreds of times he was numb to it now. Carter angrily clenched his fists. "Bro, do not be sad. Tonight I am taking you out to party with beautiful ladies. We will call 10 of them. I guarantee you will like at least one." By the time they finished eating, it was pitch dark. The nightlife had officially begun. They hit up an ultra-exclusive, top-tier VIP club. The models here were all 5'7" and gorgeous. His eyes lit up. He grabbed Carter's arm, super hyped. "Best bro, I was so wrong. I should have come out with you ages ago." They threw themselves right onto the dance floor, dancing like complete maniacs. All the repressed emotions in his chest vanished straight into the clouds. Watch this. While he was lost in the music, he did not realize that in the VIP booths across the massive room, several eyes were fixed directly on him. "Miss Veronica, look, the guy dancing." "Wait, isn't that Thomas right over there?" Veronica froze, holding her glass of champagne. Hearing his name, she snapped her gaze straight toward the crowded dance floor. Spotting Thomas, pure malicious thrill lit up her eyes. She was still absolutely furious. He had called her an illegitimate child in front of everyone, and right now, Thomas was basically serving himself up on a silver platter. She gave her friend Hin-Hin a meaningful look. "Understood." Hin-Hin eagerly strutted straight toward the dance floor. Meanwhile, Veronica whipped out her phone to record Thomas. He was having a total blast until a creepy hand squeezed his waist hard. He froze. Glaring around, everyone was dancing in their own little world. Impossible to tell who touched him. Thomas just sneered and muttered, "Whoever grabbed me is breaking a leg." The second he spoke, a masked woman nearby suddenly tumbled right off the raised platform. A blood-curdling scream completely shattered the deafening club music. "Ah, my leg." It was mangled. Hin-Hin had twisted her ankle, falling hard. You could literally hear the bones snap. Catching her fall, her hand landed directly onto a massive glass shard, piercing clean through her palm. Brutal. Bright red blood pooled everywhere. An absolutely gruesome sight. The music died instantly. Everyone froze. Security rushed over, immediately carting the screaming girl off to the hospital without a single word. Carter stared at the injured girl. Wait, wasn't that Hin-Hin? Talk about terrible luck. Thomas had spotted Veronica trailing behind them, catching her dark glare. Didn't take a genius to figure it out. Thomas smirked coldly. "Not bad luck, karma." Carter realized something was definitely up. "What happened?" "She tried messing with me, so I cursed her." Carter's eyes went wide. "Your crow's beak power is back." Thomas originally met Carter thanks to this exact ability. Back then, Carter was cornered by some alley thugs. Thomas showed up, used his jinx to wreck them, but then the power vanished. Carter was bummed. Now he was completely ecstatic. Thomas threw an arm around Carter's shoulder, his eyes tracking Veronica's retreating figure. "Let me show you another good show." Stepping outside, we spot Veronica angrily driving away. Amusement flashed In Thomas's eyes, she was just drinking, drunk driving causes accidents, and then boom. Before the sentence even finished, Veronica's Mercedes slammed straight into a tree at the curve. The smashed hood instantly started smoking. Carter's eyes were shining. "It's really back, this is awesome." Thomas dragged him toward the wreckage. Veronica's forehead was bleeding, one leg completely pinned. Hearing footsteps approach, she weakly called for help, but seeing Thomas, her face twisted in rage. He feigned surprise. "Looks like you really need help. Beg me, and maybe I'll be generous and save you." She gritted her teeth. "In your dreams." Thomas shrugged. "No begging, no saving." He turned to leave. Immediate panic set in, bleeding and dizzy. She broke. "Don't go, I beg you." Thomas looked back. "I'll help, but you answer one question." She squeezed her eyes shut, absolutely full of resentment and humiliation. "Ask." Thomas crossed his arms. "That drugged glass of wine Serafina drank, was that you?" Her face turned beet red with pure anger. "Thomas, if you won't save me, then screw off. Don't pin your own dirty deeds on me. You're despicable." The disgust on her face wasn't fake. Thomas fell into deep thought when he cursed Lucy to fall flat on her face. She absolutely did, but Veronica's crash wasn't fatal. This meant her malicious intent toward him just wasn't that. Thomas takes it to the extreme. "If you're lying, the car burns." He quickly pulls Carter back. "Nothing happens. The car doesn't burn. Looks like it really wasn't." Veronica, she is absolutely furious, cursing him out through gritted teeth, having his answer. Thomas couldn't care less. He just walks away. "But don't worry," he called the cops. "They are on their way. Once they test her for drunk driving, completely screwed." Veronica grinds her teeth, watching them leave. Once the guys are a safe distance away, Carter asks, "It really wasn't her?" Thomas nods. "If it was, that car would be up in flames." Carter looks confused but quickly pivots. "Hey, I know an even wilder spot. Let's go." He takes Thomas to an underground bar, way hotter than the last place. The models here wear practically nothing, and they are very hands-on. You and I can see why he's thrilled. Thomas's eyes light up. "Bro, you had this place and hid it." Carter rolls his eyes. "I invited you before, but you never came." Thomas quickly apologizes. "My bad, man, let's go. I need to grab a feel." He stares hungrily at a gorgeous model, his hand reaching out, but right at the critical moment, an angry shout booms from behind. "Nobody move." Hands in the air. Thomas stares at Carter in absolute shock. The spot he found was getting raided. Vice Squad. Carter couldn't even look Thomas in the eye, coughing awkwardly. "Yeah, this isn't exactly legal." They are both hauled into the police station for a lecture. Carter sighs. "I will call my sister." Thomas blurts out, "Ask your sister to bring someone for me too." Carter throws up an OK sign. Meanwhile, KH Low is drinking with Serafina. Serafina's gorgeous face is clouded with an unshakable gloom. KH Low honestly couldn't understand it. The girl has been drinking her sorrows away for 2 straight days. KH Low's phone rings. It's Carter. She puts it on speaker. "Sis, I'm at the police station. Can you come get me?" KH Low laughs. "Caught in a raid." Carter sounds totally embarrassed. Yeah, all right, I'll be right there." Then Carter adds, "Oh, Thomas is here too. Can you find someone to pick him up?" KH Low freezes, instinctively glancing right at Serafina. Serafina had already looked up. Her icy glare pins KH Low down, giving her literal goosebumps. KH Low quickly tells the phone, "That's really not convenient. I'm not his friend or his babysitter. I've got eyes on me right now. I don't want trouble." Suddenly Thomas interrupts over the speaker. "It's fine, I'll call someone else." Before KH Low even hangs up, Thomas makes a call. "Diana, I'm at the station. Ran into some trouble. Can you come pick me up?" KH Low hangs up immediately, because the look in Serafina's eyes, literally freezing the entire room. From the exact moment KH Low said she wouldn't help Thomas to him saying he'd call someone else, Serafina had just stared intensely at her own phone, but Thomas had zero intention of calling her. He called his senior Diana instead. "You and I know exactly what he's doing here," aggressively dancing right on Serafina's last nerve. Serafina abruptly stands up. Where are you going? Khlo asks blankly. Serafina radiates pure coldness. Your brother is at the police station, right? I'm picking him up. Carter and Thomas sit waiting. Khlo arrives first, signs the paperwork and leads Carter out. He tells Thomas, I'll wait at the door. Thomas waves him off. Go on, Diana is almost here, but Khlo doesn't leave. She looks at Thomas weirdly. You didn't ask Serafina to pick you up, but called some Diana. Thomas gives her a look. Was that? Is it really that complicated? Carter tugged his sister's sleeve. They broke up. Obviously, Thomas isn't calling her. Suddenly, he smiled, looking right past her. Shoulder Diana over here. Diana strolled over, radiating pure elegance and absolute brilliance. Thomas, I'm here. He scratched his head, completely awkward. Sorry to bother you so late, Diana. She gave him a gentle smile. It's totally fine, no big deal. She signed the release papers and smoothly bailated him out. Knowing the full story, she teased him, next time you go out, pick a legal spot. Thomas's ears burned bright red. Getting caught messing around by his favorite senior was just so embarrassing. He waved his hands frantically. Never again. Seriously, never again. He just wanted to have a little fun, but landing in a police station. Absolutely terrible luck. And the worst part is calling someone for a rescue. He was basically dying of embarrassment. Diana's face was full of absolute fondness. It's no big deal. Don't be embarrassed, you wild boys. As long as you keep your boundaries clear and avoid doing anything totally illegal, letting loose sometimes is perfectly fine. Thomas looked at her, deeply moved. She was just so thoughtful and gentle. It was practically overflowing. It's late. Let me take you home, she offered. He beamed right back. Thanks so much, Diana. From her car, Serafina watched him, smiling so brightly at this mysterious woman. A massive surge of pure, indescribable anger just erupted in her chest. She threw her car door open and ordered coldly, get in my car. Carter, Khlo, and Diana were just standing at the station entrance. Here is the twist. Nobody noticed Serafina's car parked right there. Her sudden appearance completely froze the air. Thomas frowned instantly. Why are you here? Serafina was so enraged by his completely different treatment that she actually laughed. Khlo quickly tried to smooth things over. When Carter called, I was hanging out with Serafina, so she came to pick you up. Thomas forced a polite smile and turned to Diana. Diana, I am so incredibly sorry for dragging you all the way out here. I will treat you to dinner next time to make up for this. I'll head back now. You get home safe. Calling her at this crazy hour made him feel so incredibly guilty. Diana simply nodded. No trouble at all. Call me whenever you need help. I'll get going now. Text me when you get home safely. After saying goodbye, he had absolutely no desire to get into Serafina's car, but she was already here and he really didn't want a pointless screaming match. He got in, waving right back at Carter. See you later. The car sped off. The atmosphere inside was completely suffocating. The driver clearly felt the crushing pressure. Serafina just sat there with a face of solid ice. He sat opposite her, staring intently at his phone, completely ignoring that freezing, terrifying aura radiating straight from her. They quickly arrived back at the villa. He got out immediately and headed straight up to his room. Just as he was about to close the door, a crazy strong force completely blocked it. He turned to see a furious Serafina, one hand holding his door wide open. Why didn't you call me? He felt like she had definitely taken the wrong meds lately. Before this, she would never ask such a stupid question. I am so tired. I just want to rest. Her freezing eyes stared intently at him. Why was there such a deep, crazy stubbornness in her eyes, like she absolutely had to get an answer right now? An unexplainable annoyance flared up inside him. He gave her a pure, sarcastic smirk. You want to know why, right? I'll show you exactly why. Right in front of her, he pulled out his phone and called Lucy. It rang for a painfully long time before automatically hanging up. His face remained totally expressionless. He dialed again, and this time Lucy finally picked up. Thomas cut right to the chase. I am at the police station. Tell Serafina to come get me. But Lucy's freezing voice blasted through the speaker. Thomas, are you seriously not ashamed to ask Miss Serafina for a ride after doing something as humiliating as getting arrested? Find a ride yourself, Miss Serafina is incredibly busy. No time for you." Just like that, she coldly hung up. A rare crack of emotion finally shattered Serafina's beautiful, icy facade. "Why did you not just call me directly?" Thomas raised an eyebrow. "Good question." He dialed Serafina's number right then. The very second it connected, that robotic voice echoed. "Sorry, the subscriber you are calling is currently busy." Thomas crossed his arms. Flashing a perfectly satisfied half-smile, Serafina stared blankly at her phone. His call to her, why did it fail? Seeing her utter confusion, Thomas kindly reminded her, "You blocked me." Boom, she looked absolutely struck by lightning. She finally remembered. There was a time she found him incredibly annoying because he called her every single day, so she threw him on her block list, forcing him to deal with her assistant instead. She ordered that assistant not to bother her unless it was critical. How long ago was that? 1 year, 2, she honestly forgot. She checked her block list right in front of him. His number sat there, all alone. Thomas spoke mockingly. "Can I rest now? Can you leave?" Pure bitterness flooded Serafina's heart. She looked into his eyes, trying for the very first time to actually explain herself. "I forgot." Thomas instantly held up a hand, stopping her. "Enough, that is your business. It means absolutely nothing to me now. I just want some rest." Thomas forcefully slammed the door, locking her completely out. She stared at the closed door. A sudden, crushing feeling of utter powerlessness completely washed over her. She blocked him because she was busy and he wouldn't stop calling. She just could not handle it, forcing him to go through her assistant instead. Once work was done, she literally just forgot to unblock him. Subconsciously, maybe she really liked the quiet, but she never expected Lucy to completely disobey orders, and judging by how calmly Thomas made that call, "Listen to me," this was clearly not his first time. Desperate, Serafina called KH Low. "I am looking for your brother. Give him the phone right now." KH Low handed it over. "Serafina wants you." Carter just smirked. "What does she want with me?" He answered. "Yeah," Serafina asked him bluntly. "You are close to Thomas. You know exactly what he likes. Tell me, I must make amends." Carter laughed like it was the joke of the century. "He just wants freedom. He wants to break up with you. Do that right now. He will be thrilled. He needs absolutely nothing else." Undeniably, Carter understood Thomas perfectly. He seriously hit the nail right on the head. KH Low smacked her brother right on the forehead. "Stop spouting nonsense. Be serious." Carter sneered back. "I am not joking here. The truth, listen closely, when Thomas actually loved her, she did nothing. Now she is doing all this useless garbage. Just break up already." He shoved the phone back to his sister, completely ignoring Serafina on the line. KH Low said helplessly, "He is just talking pure nonsense. Do not mind him." Serafina gave a freezing response, hanging up. She looked up at Thomas's closed bedroom door and sighed. In utter defeat, she called Luke. "Prepare an engagement party much bigger than the last one. Highest possible standards for everything." Luke trembled internally, but honestly could not help asking, "Another engagement party with who exactly?" Serafina sounded like pure ice. "Who else could it be, if not? If not Thomas, then who?" Luke barked. "Got it. Consider it done immediately. Every single detail must be perfect." Luke hung up, absolutely stunned. This was impossible. He dialed Quinn right away. "Mr. Quinn, we have a situation." "All right, picture this." Early next morning, Thomas was half asleep when Victoria's obnoxious screeching echoed through the villa. He honestly just wanted to ignore her, but the noise was unbearable. Thomas finally opened his door, his eyes barely open. Downstairs, total chaos. Victoria was throwing a massive tantrum, smashing everything. Poor Auntie Martha stood there repeating, "I don't know," seeing Thomas step out. Victoria's eyes locked onto him with pure rage. "Thomas, why didn't you show up yesterday? Do you know how humiliated I was?" Thomas casually leaned against the railing, a completely unfazed smile on his face. "Mrs. Taylor, respect is something you earn yourself, not handed out." You lost face because you completely lack basic shame. Why is that my problem? Her expression darkened instantly. Are you actually calling me shameless? Thomas shrugged. You said it, not me. She practically choked on her fury. How dare you speak to me? With your absolute garbage background, you think you can be this family's son-in-law. If you want my daughter, you must obey my every command and serve us properly. Otherwise, keep dreaming. Thomas just rubbed his sleepy face. Right, you are completely right. Your esteemed family has way too many rules and such high status. You really should find a match of equal standing for your daughter. Honestly, I think Quinn is perfect. You should totally play matchmaker for them. Victoria was stunned. Now, we all know she didn't expect this reaction. Usually Quinn was a massive taboo. Mentioning that guy made Thomas explode, but right now he was actively pushing her to set Serafina up with him, and he honestly sounded entirely disgusted by Serafina. Victoria frowned deeply. Thomas, do you honestly think you are worthy of rejecting my daughter? She is the most outstanding youth in this entire capital, pure top tier. You clinging to her is a rare blessing earned by 3 generations of your ancestors. Thomas just nodded repeatedly. Yep, totally, I'm definitely not worthy. Go matchmake them quickly so she stops holding me back and lets me leave. Victoria narrowed her eyes. This felt completely wrong. My daughter is so excellent. What kind of crazy reaction is this? Thomas just gave a bland smile. Sure, I admit she's excellent, but what does that have to do with me? I'm not marrying her anymore. A dull ache spread in his chest. Before, his only dream was marrying Serafina, and he poured his absolute soul into it. But now, totally impossible. They were fundamentally broken. Forcing things wouldn't end well. Victoria immediately pointed at the door. You said it yourself. Then get out of my daughter's villa right now. Thomas's eyes practically lit up. Leaving right now. He happily jogged downstairs. This was officially her mother kicking him out. Eviction happily accepted, but just as he reached the bottom step, his wrist was suddenly grabbed with insane force, and the very next second, he met Serafina's deadly, icy gaze. Where do you think you're going? Surprise flashed across his face. Why wasn't she at work today? He shook her hand off casually. Your mom told me to leave. Victoria was also totally shocked too. See Serafina still home, but quickly recovered. Serafina, Thomas finally stopped bothering you. Tell him to get lost immediately. I will find someone much better for you. Haven't you always liked Quinn? I will set it up. Thomas stood off too, the side nodding vigorously. You and I know he's loving this, but hearing her at those words, Serafina's gorgeous face instantly went dark. Who said I like Quinn? You need to stay out of my business, showing up here this early just to make a massive scene and kick Thomas out. Listen, if you don't stay in your lane as Madam Taylor, I'm shipping you straight back to Dong City. Victoria's face went totally pale. She practically shrieked. I am your actual mother. You'd really banish me to Dong City over Thomas? Are you insane? Pure impatience flashed across Serafina's features. Leave right now, or I'm putting you on the next flight there. Myself, furious but completely powerless, Victoria shot Thomas an absolutely venomous glare and stormed right out. You and I know old Thomas would play peacemaker, but what did this toxic family drama have to do with him? Seeing her exit, Thomas tried walking away too, but Serafina grabbed his wrist hard. He just frowned. What now? Suddenly, a weird, completely unreadable emotion flashed through her freezing eyes. Come to the office with me. Thomas rejected her flat out. Not happening, but her grip tightened, her tone leaving zero room for debate. You are going, whether you like it or not. He pursed his lips. I can't exactly go in my pajamas, right? Seeing he was literally in sleepwear, she finally released him. I'll be waiting downstairs. Thomas just rolled his eyes and dragged himself upstairs to change. Then he dropped a status update visible only to Quinn. Serafina is taking me to hang out at her office. Too fun. He attached a pretty handsome selfie. Let's be real, that absolute drama king couldn't sit still after seeing that flex. Soon after, he followed Serafina to her company. She held his hand walking onto the 58th floor, moving straight through the secretary pool where Luke and Lucy were working away. Serafina pulled Thomas toward her executive office, but then abruptly stopped dead. She spun around and marched right up to Lucy's desk. Hand over your files, you are fired. Lucy's face showed absolute shock before she frantically started begging. Boss, what did I do? Please just give me one more chance. I can fix this. Luke quickly jumped in. Madam, is there some misunderstanding here? I trained Lucy myself, and her work is flawless. Serafina's face was a complete ice block. She stared coldly at Lucy. The boss's expression remained totally empty. She just glared down at the secretary. You don't even know what you messed up, yet you think you deserve to stay. This company will pay your standard severance package, box up your stuff, and get out. Thomas was honestly stunned. Why was Serafina abruptly firing Lucy? A sudden thought flashed through his head. Was she doing this for him? But Thomas quickly brushed off that totally crazy idea. He wasn't that important to her. Time to stop being delusional. Completely panicking, Lucy finally noticed Thomas standing right beside Serafina, almost as if connecting the dots. Her eyes turned incredibly toxic, glaring like absolute poison at Thomas. It was you, wasn't it? You badmouthed me to the boss. You totally snitched. Thomas, using our petty grudge to destroy my career. You're utterly shameless. Hearing that trash, Thomas couldn't bite his tongue. You know exactly why you got fired. Besides, Serafina is the boss making the call here. Got a problem? Talk to her. Why exactly are you barking at me? But Lucy was firmly convinced Thomas did it. Why else would Serafina drop her? It was all you, you piece of trash. But before she could finish, Serafina coldly delivered an absolutely brutal kick. Lucy crashed to the floor in a humiliating messy heap. Serafina just stared down at her. Who gave you the nerve to curse at him? If you dare insult him right to my face, you must have done much worse behind. All right, watch this. Remembering yesterday when Thomas called a school senior instead of her and got completely mocked by her assistant, Serafina's eyes instantly turned freezing cold. Get out of my sight. The room's temperature basically drops below absolute zero. But right then, a guy's voice interrupts. Serafina, what's going on? It's Quinn, wearing a crisp white shirt, stepping up right behind Lucy. For her, seeing him is like grabbing a lifeline. Lucy instantly plays the victim. Mr. Quinn, Miss Serafina wants to fire me. While complaining, she shoots Thomas a totally venomous glare heavily to pin all the blame on him. Quinn looks totally shocked, then faces Serafina. Serafina, did Lucy make a mistake? Why fire her? She worked so incredibly hard. He shoots Thomas a very subtle glare. If someone caused this, Serafina, please give her another chance. She's had it rough. Watching this incredibly obvious manipulation unfold, Thomas actually laughs out of pure anger. These two clowns are absolute top tier actors. Since they love performing, Thomas decides to play along, perfectly mimicking Quinn's tone. Serafina, Lucy worked so hard, even if she secretly took on shady private gigs and completely leaked our contract prices. Don't fire her. She came from the mountains. It's so tough for her, you must forgive her. Hearing this, Lucy's smug face instantly drops in pure panic. Quinn glares at Thomas, faking a painfully disappointed expression. Thomas, you're going way too far. Just to get her fired, you invent these irresponsible lies. Do you realize how this affects her? The entire industry will absolutely blacklist her. Thomas just smiles right back. Oh, so you do know spreading rumors has terrible consequences. You guys are completely hilarious. If I could actually make Serafina fire her, would she have lasted this long? Quinn glares at Thomas with fury. If it wasn't you, why would Serafina randomly fire her? Thomas simply shrugs. Ask Serafina, why ask me? I'm no mind reader. Then Thomas narrows his eyes sharply, smiling right over at Lucy. If you didn't betray the company, you have nothing to feel guilty about. But if you did, well, bad luck is absolutely coming. Feeling exposed and tense, Lucy literally lunges forward to strike Thomas, but because she's panicking, she trips over a desk leg and violently faceplants into the floor, landing in a spectacular face-first wipeout. Thomas just lets out a completely cold chuckle. Told you that bad luck was coming. He's actually hinting the truth to Serafina, already hyperguilty and now. Humiliated by the massive fall, Lucy's mind totally snaps. Scrambling back up, she furiously lunges straight for Thomas's face, raising her hand to slap him hard, but before it connects, Serafina intercepts her wrist. An absolute icy glare locks onto Lucy. "You dare strike my man right in front of me. Who gave you the nerve?" Serafina violently shoves Lucy's hand away. Lucy staggers backward, her face turning ghost pale. Meanwhile, Luke just watches, totally trembling. Lucy has absolutely lost her mind here. Serafina is literally standing right there, and she still dared to attack Thomas. Doing shady stuff secretly is one thing, but to her face, absolute death wish. "You and I know that," Quinn interrupts. "Serafina, this isn't Lucy's fault. Thomas provoked her," but the boss coldly cuts him off. "Do I need your permission to fire a backstabbing traitor?" Hearing this, Quinn completely freezes, his face totally draining of color. This is the very first time Serafina has ever spoken to him like ice. He doesn't dare utter another syllable. Serafina glares a hole through Lucy. "I will have everything you've done thoroughly investigated and hold you legally accountable. Now get out." Hearing this absolute brutal death sentence, Lucy completely breaks down, turning on her heel to run away in utter disgrace. Let's watch this mess unfold. Serafina grabs his hand, face cold, yanking him into her office. Quinn is right on their heels, but just as he tries to step inside, the door slams completely shut, blocked out. His whole body goes rigid, face turning dangerously, sickly pale. Practically see-through, he nervously shoots a quick glance straight over at Luke. Luke also senses Serafina is acting totally out of character today. Back inside the office, our guy watches Serafina lock the door. He immediately rushes to open it. Quinn is still out there. Before, he absolutely hated having the guy anywhere near Serafina. But right now, being alone with her is the absolute last thing he ever wants. He actually wishes Quinn was between them, but Serafina tightly grips his wrist instead. Her clear, icy eyes stare straight into his soul. She asks why he thinks she fired Lucy. He just shrugs. Figured out the betrayal right. His bad luck predictions never miss. Always spot on, but Serafina instantly fires back. She did it entirely for him. His expression, totally unreadable. He tells her that whatever she decides to do is her own business. Leave him out of it. Her freezing gaze actually softens. She admits she had no idea Lucy was disrespecting him. She only found out yesterday. That is exactly why she fired her. Our guy catches the hidden meaning, his eyes filling with confusion, but seeing her dead serious face, a massive wave of pure irritation surges inside him. Is she crazy? She never bothered explaining anything before. She never cared, so why start now, trying to win him back? It is honestly so completely unnecessary. Sensing his resistance, a quick flash of helplessness appears on her face. She admits the disastrous engagement party was her fault. She just did not think. She begs for forgiveness. He scoffs, but his heart feels incredibly bitter. This is the first time in 7 whole years she actually lowered her pride to coax him. You and I know it isn't just about that party. She completely misses that tipping point, the absolute final straw. His gaze falls flatly on her. He tells Serafina he forgives the engagement party mess, but they are totally done. Wouldn't a clean breakup be better? She immediately presses a finger against his lips to silence him. Her eyes fill with unexpected gentleness. Her voice drops soft. "No breakups allowed." She admits she messed up before. She begs for one more chance, promising to replace that ruined party with something way grander. She swears to never neglect him again. His heart aches so bitterly. So she actually knew everything all along, but why did it take until he tasted every single drop of toxic pain and bitter heartbreak for her to finally, genuinely repent? His heart is shredded. He starts speaking, but outside, "Mr. Quinn, what is wrong?" Luke's panicked shout echoes from the hallway, followed immediately by incredibly heavy pounding right on the door. He yells that Quinn passed out in a split second. While her breath still lingers right on his face, Serafina instantly bolts straight for the door, violently yanking it open. Quinn is fully collapsed on the floor, ghostly pale. She doesn't utter a single word. She immediately scoops him up, desperately sprinting straight toward the elevator, but here is what we see perfectly clearly. Quinn opens his eyes, while in her arms, shooting him an incredibly smug smile. The MC's heart floods with bitterness. Just like countless times over the past 7 years, Serafina doesn't hesitate to choose Quinn over him. Not even 1 minute ago, she was swearing to never neglect him again. He takes a long, deep breath. Meanwhile, Serafina's car is speeding straight to the hospital. She already called Dr. Holly en route. By the time they arrive, the doctor is waiting. Anxiously, she quickly helps Serafina rush Quinn straight into the emergency room, and the door clicked shut. Alone with Quinn, Dr. Holly dropped her whole panicked act. Instead, she just sat down casually, looking at Quinn on the bed with a helpless smile, lightly pinching his cheek. Stop faking it, it's obviously just a minor blood pressure drop. Her voice was completely full of indulgence. Quinn slowly opened his eyes, looking incredibly guilty. Holly, I'm sorry I used you again. She gently shook her head. Quinn, faking sickness like, this won't work forever, you gotta see it. Serafina really doesn't have romantic feelings for you. Tears suddenly welled up. Then why is Thomas okay but not me? How am I worse than him? Serafina, marrying him isn't about love. It's just because Thomas got lucky and took a knife for her. Let's rewind. A year ago, an attacker lunged at Serafina with a deadly blade. It was bad, and Thomas threw himself in front of her, taking the massive hit. Thomas was hospitalized for 3 months. Right after that, she agreed to marry Thomas. See, Serafina valued strict duty over feelings. Because Thomas took that knife for her, she felt forced to take responsibility for him for the rest of his life. Dr. Holly let out a heavy sigh. Serafina owed them both. 2. She was balancing both sides. Pure duty was the only thing keeping her from letting either guy go. She gently stroked Quinn's hair. Don't worry, I'll help you. Quinn hugged her, looking grateful. Thank you, Holly. She then stepped out of the ER, sighing hard. Serafina, you know Quinn really can't handle stress. He was so hyped to see you today. Why did he faint? Was Thomas at the office too? Serafina frowned, a heavy dark cloud settling over her expression. When Quinn hit the ER, she instantly thought of Thomas. He got left behind. At the office, she called Luke, who confirmed Thomas left right after them. She actually texted Thomas, but he didn't reply. Why hadn't she let Thomas visit the office for years? Because Quinn's fragile health couldn't handle any shock. Just seeing Thomas triggered the guy. To prevent his episodes, she literally banned Thomas from the office. Was that really fair to Thomas? Serafina told Dr. Holly Quinn's condition was serious. I've contacted a foreign medical team. Take him overseas for treatment. Hearing this, Dr. Holly completely froze. You want to send him away? Serafina's intense eyes darkened, looking right at her. Treatment abroad will be better for him. Right, Dr. Holly softened her tone, but you know perfectly well he does better when he's by your side. Serafina coldly cut her off. I'm getting married very soon. I'll family and kids. I can't stay single forever just for his sake. Take him abroad. Once Thomas and I finish our engagement, our big wedding, and finally get our marriage certificate, you can bring him back. Suddenly, the ER doors burst open. Quinn stumbled out, hugging Serafina tight. I'm not going anywhere. I absolutely won't go overseas for treatment. Serafina, please don't send me away. Serafina very gently pushed him off, looking deadly serious. Quinn, treating your heavy illness abroad is just better for you. I'll arrange everything when you're fully recovered. I'll welcome you back. He shook his head like crazy. No, I'm fine now. I really don't want to leave you. Seeing him panic, Dr. Holly's heart softened. Serafina, look. His condition is totally under control. He really doesn't need to go overseas. But Serafina's eyes stayed ice cold, her voice totally uncompromising. The foreign medical team is highly professional. It's much better for him. Quinn. All right, let's break this down. Quinn was totally baffled. Why was she suddenly sending him away? Serafina had never been this ice cold to him before. She just looked at him, sighing heavily. She promised to arrange everything. Holly would go with him so he wouldn't be alone, too. Weak right now, she told him to rest, then walked out. Quinn called out in desperation, begging her to stay, but she just walked away. Meanwhile, as Thomas left the company building, Carter called him up. He asked if Thomas went to the company. Thomas was absolutely shocked. How did Carter know? Thomas was only there for 15 minutes. Carter's voice was dead serious. Thomas and Serafina were the absolute center of attention in the capital right now. Especially after that massive engagement disaster, everyone was watching their every single move. Walking into that building looking so close, photos of them instantly exploded across everywhere. All the elite group chats were going crazy, but what Carter didn't mention right away. High society was betting on Thomas again. That first bet about him crawling back, totally voided. Now the new bet was whether Thomas and Serafina would actually throw another massive second engagement party in 6 months, so you and I know, walking in together like that. The capital's high society absolutely lost their minds. Thomas didn't need it spelled out, he knew. He chuckled, asking Carter what his bet was. Carter wanted to bet 3 days, but Serafina was clearly losing her mind and refusing to let Thomas go. Otherwise, Carter would have won. What was her deal anyway? Did she actually fall for Thomas? Thomas just laughed it off. He used to think she genuinely liked him, but not anymore. The truth was way simpler. She just felt incredibly responsible. Thomas taking that knife for her, it made her feel obligated. Thomas hung up. Right on cue, Serafina FaceTimed him. He completely ignored the call. Watching the call ring out, she knew he was dodging her, sitting alone in her car. She let out this bitter, helpless laugh. Honestly, it felt like she dug her own grave. And then just jumped right in, completely ridiculous. She absolutely hated feeling this out of control. Meanwhile, Thomas got another call. It was Dr. Kim, reminding him about his scar treatment today. The doctor asked when he was coming in. Thomas was free, so he headed right over. But pulling up to the hospital, Thomas spotted a very familiar car parked outside. His mouth twitched. Serafina, wasn't she supposed to be bringing Quinn here? Why was she waiting? Seeing Thomas, she walked right over, offering to go with him. He honestly thought she was losing her mind. She used to come with him at first, but his treatments took a full 6 hours. For an executive as insanely busy as her, it was a massive waste. After 2 visits, she totally gave up on coming. Thomas just forced a polite smile, declining. He told her it was boring and took forever. She needed to go back to work. She had an entire company to run right, but she refused to be pushed away today. Instead, she looked at him, amused. Was he blocking her just because he was afraid she'd see him take his clothes off for the medical treatment? Thomas's polite expression almost completely cracked. He just shrugged. If she wanted to tag along, fine. It was her time being wasted. Dr. Kim was already waiting and led Thomas to the VIP room. Serafina tried following him, but Thomas just handed her his coat and phone. He told her to wait outside, blocking the door. She didn't push it. Honestly, she just lacked the courage to look at that brutal scar on his back. That knife had nearly killed him, all to save her life. The door finally closed. Serafina sat quietly in the VIP lounge. Suddenly, Thomas's phone buzzed with a notification. She glanced over. A new message. Without even thinking, she opened it up. But seeing the actual content, her cold expression turned absolutely thunderous. It was a message from Lucy, telling Thomas to look in the mirror. Marry the boss. She called him a literal toad. All right, let's read these toxic messages. How does getting dumped at the altar feel? Her attitude says it all. She literally could not care less about you. Are you truly this pathetic, clinging to her like a stray? Have some pride. Honestly, I would die of pure embarrassment. Even if you actually chase me off, you are still nothing but trash. The boss will never respect you. Just drop dead. Serafina sits there reading Lucy's disgusting text messages popping up one by one. The disrespect is absolutely wild. She scrolls back up. The older texts are a tiny bit better, but still incredibly toxic. There is even a picture Lucy snapped right by Quinn's hospital bed, gazing Lovingly, the caption reads, "Miss Serafina is taking care of Mr. Quinn. Please do not disturb us, even on your birthday today." There is also a quick video showing Lucy drinking with KH Lo. KH Lo actually asks, "You just returned from a huge business trip. Are you not going to check on Thomas?" Lucy pours herself another glass, looking totally annoyed. "No, he is throwing a tantrum. Let him handle it alone." Serafina keeps scrolling down. The audacity is endless, mostly pictures of her posing with Quinn. Captioned with that same "do not disturb." Her knuckles turn entirely white, gripping the phone. Eyes burning with pure rage. Lucy actually crossed the line. Serafina grabs her own phone, dialing Tracy from the legal department. "I need you to investigate every single shady move Lucy has ever made here. Gather hardcore proof. I am going to sue her straight into a jail cell." Tracy hangs up, super confused but fixing the bosses massive headaches is literally her job. Once they gather enough solid evidence, Tracy calls the cops. The authorities contact Lucy immediately. Hearing that the entire company is officially suing her, Lucy feels her entire world completely shatter. She instantly thinks about Quinn. He is the only person who can save her now. Quinn, who actually passed out from rage over Serafina acting cold, just woke back up. When Lucy's call finally comes through, he has already stabilized. Spotting her name, he tells Dr. Holly, "I need to take this call." Dr. Holly nods and stands up. "Get some rest." She leaves the room. Quinn waits until she is completely gone before answering. "Mr. Quinn, Miss Serafina is suing me. Please save me." Quinn's expression instantly shifts. How is that even possible? Serafina is not like that. Lucy stammers in total panic. "I texted Thomas to insult him, and she actually saw it." Quinn mentally curses her for being an absolute idiot and leaving obvious evidence. He quickly runs the numbers and says, "Do not worry. I will beg Serafina to help you out. I will contact you when I get news." He hangs up, that innocent look completely vanishing from his face, replaced by pure venom. Serafina is entirely ruthless whenever she makes a move, so Lucy is basically finished. He refuses to waste resources on a useless pawn, but he can definitely squeeze one last drop of value from her. Lucy is super hot-headed, totally impulsive, and incredibly selfish. He just needs to exploit that to make Thomas suffer. Now watch this. Thomas walks out of the room, not seeing Serafina. The lounge, he heads straight for the hospital exit. Suddenly, a voice calls out from ahead. Thomas stops, and seeing exactly who it is, he raises an eyebrow. His father's illegitimate son, Justin. Thomas just smiles and gives him a nod. "You should absolutely get way more plastic surgery. It is not cool scaring people with how truly ugly you are." Justin's face immediately twists in rage. Thomas quickly reminds him, "Careful, your fake face is slipping." Justin instinctively touches his own face. Seeing Thomas flashing a mocking smile, he knows he just got totally played and flushes bright red. Thomas ignores him completely and tries walking past, but Justin grabs him. "Dad wants to ask if you talk too." "All right, stick with me." Thomas coldly brushes the guy's annoying hand right off. That is his problem, not Thomas's. If that man wants a partnership, he can go to the two group himself. Looking for Thomas is useless. His father, Charles, had his own company right here in the capital worth over 100 million to normal people. That is insane wealth, but in this city packed with billionaires, it means absolutely nothing. He cheated constantly, got with Justin's mom, stole his mother's assets, and kicked her out so his shiny new family could live in luxury. His mother took Thomas and died in a tragic accident shortly after. Later, when Charles found out Thomas was Serafina's fiancé, he shamelessly tried claiming him as his beloved son, constantly demanding Thomas secure him massive projects with the two group. Honestly, it is entirely sickening. Thomas just wishes he would go totally bankrupt and beg on the streets. Help him get rich, keep dreaming. Justin sneers at him. "Thomas, what are you acting all high and mighty for? Think you can still help? I was simply testing you." Getting dumped at your very own engagement party. Are you not completely humiliated? Do you even have the face to show around the capital? If it were me, I would have ended it all with a block of tofu by now. Thomas lets out a cold laugh. Why should I die, so what if? Serafina and I canceled the engagement. What is humiliating about it? Couples break up before getting married all the time. At least our past relationship was totally public and legitimate. What about you? Thomas stares at him with intense amusement. The son of a home wrecker, you will never be able to hold your head high your entire life. Unable to take the heavy insult, Justin lunges forward. Thomas laughs coldly and dodges easily to the side. Immediately, there is the nasty, distinct sound of Justin's bone dislocating. He crashes hard onto the floor. The injury is far from light. This proves Justin had massive malicious intent toward him. Thomas feels absolute zero sympathy. Now watch this. Thomas crouches down, grabbing his chin. I am asking you, 3 years ago were you at the Emperor Club? Justin angrily swats his hand away. What the hell does that have to do with you? Thomas stands up tall. That room was VIP. You could not have gotten in, but Thomas remembers seeing him there that exact day. With his incredibly despicable personality, it is highly likely Justin drugged him. Thomas glares down hard. If I find out it was you, I will smash your face in. Justin mocks him. What is wrong? Serafina thinks it was you. Thomas, do you not feel pathetic? Even I know you are not that kind of guy, but Serafina does not believe you. Think about it. You gave her everything. Does she even care? His heart stings badly, a bitter, sour feeling rushing straight to his head. Even Justin knew Thomas was not that type of guy, but in Serafina's eyes he was that completely despicable. Thomas laughs out self-deprecatingly. He can only truly blame his own terrible taste in women. He chose the wrong person. He accepts the harsh consequences. Thomas stands up and walks away, but as he turns the corner, he spots Serafina leaning lazily against the wall. Her face is completely expressionless, her probing gaze fixed right on him. She definitely startles him. You did not leave. He takes his phone from her, glances to see it is empty, shoves it in his pocket, and walks out of the hospital. She follows quietly behind him, deeply pondering what she just heard. Serafina's upbringing was highly unique. The Tu family was the absolute top dynasty in the capital. The old master was entirely ruthless, pushing his family to the pinnacle of power, but he made many enemies, and the internal family strife was absolutely brutal. He originally had 3 sons, but only Serafina's father survived this. All right, check this out. Her father, total playboy, drowning in wine and women with zero business sense. Now, Victoria came from an ordinary family, but was incredibly beautiful. Serafina's father chased her, but right while they were dating. A brutal car crash. He was severely injured, completely destroying his ability to ever have kids again. But Victoria, incredibly lucky, she got pregnant. The child she carried would be the absolute last bloodline of the Tu family. Because of this, she easily married in, becoming Mrs. Tu, but she was totally blinded by love. When Serafina was little, she was just a pawn for her mother to control her. Playboy father, Victoria frequently beat her, playing the ultimate victim and forcing the poor girl to take freezing showers, stand in the bitter cold, or roll downstairs just to force that terrible father to finally come home. But a man's guilt and pity only work a few times before they go completely numb. The absolute worst time, Serafina hit a fever of 105 degrees. If the butler hadn't found her, she'd have suffered severe brain damage. When old Master Tu finally found out, he immediately took her away to raise her himself. She was 8. She already knew she was just a tool, and even as the only child, she still couldn't pull her father from his life of debauchery. Raised solely by her grandfather, she became the family's highly anticipated heir. Raised without love, crushed under immense pressure and heavy responsibility, she developed her current icy personality. To her, emotions were completely useless. She literally didn't know how to love and never loved anyone. So why did she treat our MC specially? Because only he loved her unconditionally. He loved her for exactly who she was and was willing to do absolutely anything for her. Even getting drugged by her seemed completely Normal to her, she wasn't angry. She just went with the flow. He was her very first man, and she never once doubted that he was the one who drugged her. She didn't need to understand it, nor did she want to waste any effort coaxing him, and she definitely didn't consider his feelings at all. She just needed his unconditional love. But now, seeing the sudden resistance in his eyes, her cold heart twinged. His words, "I chose the wrong person, I accept the consequences," meant he fully regretted it. He was taking back all of his love. Getting into the car, she quietly said, "We didn't eat together yesterday. Let's go today." He just hummed noncommittally. Then suddenly his phone rang. It was Diana. "Hello, okay, I'll be right there." He hung up and bluntly told Serafina, "I have something to do at school. Go eat by yourself." He then prepared to step out, but she tightly grabbed his hand. "Is she that important?" He frowned. "Are you sick?" "It's about my studies. I don't want my graduation delayed again." Hearing him specifically mention his delayed graduation, she reflexively let go. He had to take a full year off because of the brutal knife wound he took for her, which delayed his graduation. Otherwise, he would have already graduated. Instead of struggling to make up credits right now, she hesitated, but our guy walked away without a single hint of nostalgia, quickly catching a cab straight to campus. Diana had called to say their professor's peach blossom painting was suddenly missing, and she needed it for a major competition tomorrow. The painting was kept securely locked in the art studio cabinet, and he had the only key. Arriving at school, he sprinted straight to the studio, panting hard. Diana was already inside, her slender, elegant figure waiting gracefully. She turned and gently poured him a cup of water, her eyes overflowing with pampering affection. "I told you not to rush. Why did you run so fast? Drink some water first." He took a big gulp, walking to the Thomas unlocked the cabinet. The masterpiece was perfectly safe inside. He carefully handed the artwork over to Diana. Smiling, she insisted on taking it straight to the professor. She told him to tag along, saying it was better if he delivered it personally. So they hopped into Diana's car. She asked if he got scolded yesterday. He shook his head no, but his ex, Serafina, totally annoyed him. Honestly, just mentioning her ruined his entire vibe. He absolutely hated complaining about his past relationship anyway. Diana caught his drift and completely dropped it. Now, Professor Margaret lived in a nice apartment near campus. Walking in, the professor warmly grabbed her star student's hand. She welcomed Thomas excitedly. He had rested for an entire year. How was he feeling? Any future plans? Thomas felt pretty guilty, knowing exactly what she meant: an elite study abroad program for advanced training. She had offered it a year ago, but then he took a literal knife for Serafina. 1 year of recovery later, the whole opportunity vanished. He knew the professor valued him, but painting was never his real passion. Dancing was. He only studied art because Serafina hated his dancing, but honestly, he still had some absolutely incredible artistic talent. Giving a vague answer, he promised the professor he would think about it. Professor Margaret affectionately patted his shoulder. It was his life after all. She wouldn't push, but she hoped he would reconsider. Thomas nodded respectfully. Glancing at her niece, Diana, she waved the two of them off. Getting pretty late, she didn't keep them for dinner. She had to finish touching up the gorgeous painting for tomorrow. They said their goodbyes. Now it was dinner time. Remembering how Diana saved him at the police station yesterday, Thomas decided to properly treat her. He wanted to buy her dinner at this amazing local steakhouse. He promised she would absolutely love it. Diana looked genuinely surprised. Since he was offering, she simply could not refuse. Time to expand her horizons. He threw her a huge thumbs up. Guaranteed satisfaction. Everyone loved this place. Diana then thoughtfully opened the passenger door for him. "Your royal carriage awaits, Prince." He burst out laughing at that. She was really keeping up with modern trends. He honestly had no idea. She was always the ultimate academic overachiever, while others played games or watched viral videos. She studied hard. She laughed. Was she some outdated relic to him? She might not use social apps often, but she still checked them. She Wanted to understand modern trends just so she could get much closer to the exact person she liked. The soft restaurant lighting fell perfectly on him and her. Eyes sparkled intensely. Thomas swallowed hard, the romantic tension suddenly spiked heavily. His heart basically exploded inside his chest. He very quickly changed the subject. He told Diana to drive faster to beat the massive dinner rush. She ignored his obvious deflection. She had waited 4 years already. What was more time? His heart raced. Are you seeing this? He finally realized Diana actually had feelings for him. They arrived at the steakhouse. Thomas enthusiastically asked if she had ever been there before. She shook her head. She preferred cooking healthy meals at home. She wasn't super into Western food. He smiled warmly. Steak wouldn't ruin her diet. Plus, this spot was completely amazing. She just had to try it. She nodded gently. Since he highly recommended it, she definitely would. But what if she got addicted? She would have to force him to be her permanent dining partner. He could not say no. Thomas felt his face heat up completely. Flustered, he agreed they could come together next time. Then she smiled like a beautiful spring breeze, gentle yet completely captivating. Our guy was hooked. Back at his usual spot, Diana hands him the menu. You're the regular you order, she says. He agrees. The raw beef fillet here is super authentic and tastes incredible. I'll grab that for you. She smiles, totally on board. You have to admit, Diana is incredibly well-mannered, so polite. She responds perfectly to everything. Plus, her eyes are just so warm and affectionate. You can actually feel the love, nothing like Serafina's cold, heartless stare that always looked right past him. Honestly, Serafina will never know how much that icy gaze hurt. But wait, we both know he's comparing his ex to Diana again. Is he crazy? Why even compare them? They are completely different people. He lightly slaps his cheeks to knock Serafina right out of his head. Then he and Diana lock eyes and smile. The atmosphere is just so warm, but he has zero clue that every single move they make is being perfectly watched by someone in the very next booth. Veronica quickly snaps a photo, and honestly, it is a killer shot. Perfect lighting. The chemistry between them is completely undeniable. Especially the exact moment Diana reaches over to wipe his mouth. Her eyes are dripping with absolute tenderness, and he is smiling brightly. They look exactly like a couple deeply in love on a hot date. Veronica immediately fires the picture off to Serafina with a brutal caption. Hey sis, Thomas is totally cheating on you. He is seeing someone else. Back at the villa, Serafina is in the greenhouse swirling a glass of expensive wine. Her mind keeps wandering back to how he left today without a shred of hesitation. Even when she asked to eat together, he truly could not care less. In the past, as long as she came home, he would cook a massive feast of all her favorites. No matter how late, he would always wait. Sometimes she would say she was coming home only to get held up by work. Even at midnight, he would still be there waiting, but today, he did not care at all. She furrows her brows. All these changes really started when the engagement party got canceled. Suddenly, her phone buzzes. She glances at the screen and her eyes nearly pop wide open. Hey sis, Thomas is totally cheating on you. She hastily rips open the chat message Veronica just sent several photos of him and Diana having a romantic dinner. Diana looks elegant, gentle, and he is smiling at her brilliantly. The new girl returns that smile with intense warmth. Serafina's heart stabs with sharp pain. It has been so long since he smiled at her like that. Her face turns absolutely frigid as she instantly dials him on FaceTime. Back at the restaurant, he is enjoying the raw fillet when some black pepper sauce gets stuck on his lip. Seeing this, Diana gently grabs a tissue and wipes it right off. For him, he freezes for just a second, then flashes her a bright smile. Thanks, Diana. Her face just shows endless affection. Eat slowly. If you like it that much, I'll take you out to eat more often. He smiles inwardly, realizing he needs to cleanly cut ties with Serafina immediately. Sweet love is waving right at him, but suddenly his phone rings. It is a video call from Serafina. He frowns slightly, keeping his face perfectly neutral and hits do not disturb, totally ignoring the call. After it times out, a text from her pops up, "Where are you? When are you coming back?" He pretends not to even see it. She apparently figures he won't reply and calls again. This time, with an ice-cold face, he flat out turns his phone off. He even blocks her. For good measure, watch this. The dark aura around Serafina in the greenhouse is so explosive, it feels like it could literally shatter the glass. All she gets in return is a glaring red exclamation mark, and right then, Veronica sends a video. The video perfectly caught the exact moment Serafina spammed him with calls. He saw the incoming call, totally ignored it, spotted the text, still didn't care. Zero reply. By the second ring, Thomas's face just screamed pure annoyance and disgust. He straight up powered down his phone. Meanwhile, Serafina furiously smashed hers into the greenhouse's tempered glass. It shattered instantly. A sharp glass shard actually flew backward, slicing her forehead open. Blood trickled down, but she didn't even flinch. Honestly, the raging inferno inside her heart was totally out of control. With his phone off, Thomas's world became perfectly peaceful. Diana definitely heard his phone ringing earlier, but saw him shut it down. Still, she was polite enough not to pry. He realized right then she was amazing. Her respect for boundaries made him feel genuinely valued. Their warm dinner wrapped up past 9 p.m. Diana offered to drive him home, and he happily agreed. "Thanks for the ride," he said. She smiled back. "You bought a great meal, driving you back is literally the least I could do." He couldn't help smiling. She dropped him off right at the villa. He stood by the door, waving. "Text me when you're safe." "Diana," she shot him a glance. "Only if your phone is actually on." He laughed a little awkwardly. He waited until her car vanished before turning to head inside, pulling his phone back out to power it up. But the exact second he stepped indoors, watch this, someone violently snatched the device from his hands. It flew in a perfect arc, splashing straight into the indoor koi pond. Absolutely furious, Thomas glared at the attacker. "Are you crazy?" he yelled. Serafina's icy eyes were blazing with absolute madness. "What's the point of your phone?" she screamed. "You ignore my calls, you ignore my texts." He stared at her completely unhinged state and just laughed coldly. "Over that you're mad? How many times did you ignore my calls and texts before? Now that I do it to you, you totally lose your mind. Let me spell it out. I just don't want to answer your calls. I don't want to reply to your texts. I'm literally ignoring you. All I want right now is a clean break. That way I can spend the rest of my life with Diana." The dark aura around Serafina violently exploded. "You want to break up? You want to love another woman? Thomas, let me tell you, keep dreaming in this lifetime. Do not ever dream of leaving me." With that, she forcefully dragged him straight upstairs. Auntie Martha watched from the kitchen, wanting to jump in but completely terrified to speak up. In all her years, she'd never seen Serafina act this unhinged. The couple's conflicts had never exploded quite like this before. Serafina violently dragged him into her bedroom, forcefully shoving him down onto the massive bed. Before Thomas could even react, she pinned him down, locking him totally in place. He finally realized what she was about to do and opened his mouth in sheer panic. She came totally prepared. The exact moment he tried to curse her out, she shoved a pine-scented handkerchief right into his mouth, choking back all his words. She actually prepared a gag. She planned this whole thing, and not only did she gag him, she ruthlessly ripped his shirt open, tying his hands tightly to the headboard with an inescapable knot. He was going absolutely insane with anger. She aggressively started kissing his Adam's apple. Thomas struggled violently until, and yeah, you guessed it, his pants were yanked down too. Absolute despair, he squeezed his eyes shut and just stopped moving completely. As she kissed him, Serafina finally realized something was very wrong. Her body stiffened up as a sliver of rationality actually returned. Looking down at him, a sharp pang pierced her heart. She asked hoarsely, desperately trying to soothe him, "Are you okay?" He just glared with eyes pure hatred. Her twisted heart skipped, instinctively covering Thomas's eyes from the world. With her palm, her voice dropping to a gentle whisper, "Don't be scared. This time I will make sure you feel the pleasure, too. Nobody could stop whatever she wanted to do." Thomas was violently dragged to heaven, only to crash right back down to hell. That night, she went completely manic, using this chillingly gentle tone she never used before. She whispered in his ear about the engagement party. "I am sorry. I will make it up to you with a bigger one," drifting into dark unconsciousness. A smile of absolute despair touched Thomas's lips. "No, you will not. I will never marry you, never." The very next morning, he jolted awake, immediately meeting Serafina's icy gaze. But get this, today held a weird trace of pampering. She planted a kiss right on his forehead. "Come eat with me." She dragged Thomas downstairs, his gaze locked on her completely. She had changed. Downstairs, Auntie Martha just finished making chicken stew. Seeing them come down, the maid hurried over to serve, her eyes totally full of worry. She had never seen Serafina act so unhinged before, but honestly, no matter how badly she felt for Thomas, crossing the line to protect him was impossible. He smiled to reassure her entirely. "Thanks, Auntie Martha, I am really starving." He grabbed the bowl and downed it in seconds. Surviving last night really did drain way too much energy. Suddenly, Serafina handed him a brand new phone. "Putting you on the block list was my fault. I will not do it again. From now on, you answer every single call and text. Understand?" Thomas gave a lazy hum, not even bothering to argue. Her intense eyes were surprisingly brimming with pure tenderness. If she had shown him this exact kind of softness just once across 7 whole years, he would not have reached this absolute level of pure despair. Her warm breath brushed against his ear. "Was last night comfortable, just to appease this total lunatic?" Thomas gave a lazy answer. "Yeah, very." She let out a soft, dark chuckle. "Then we will continue tonight." His body went rigid. He underestimated her. Last night, Thomas never thought the high and mighty Serafina would ever resort to such dirty tactics. Right then, her phone suddenly rang. She answered. "I know, I will be right there. Have the vice president handle that business trip. I do not have time. I will spend the next month arranging things." She stared right at Thomas with tender eyes. "I want to get engaged." His hands stiffened up, but his face remained completely unchanged. She pressed a kiss right to his cheek. "Work came up. I have to go. I will pick you up for dinner tonight." He was about to open his mouth, but she violently cut him off. No refusing. Thomas fiercely clenched his fists. "Fine." The smile on her exquisite face instantly deepened. Only after she left did he finally let out a massive sigh of pure relief. Serafina's sugar-coated gentleness and her promise of spectacular engagement party were now nothing more than a totally desperate shackle. She left triumphantly, fully convinced that her tyrannical dominance the night before had once again broken Thomas's wings and chained him securely right to her side. Yet the exact moment her silhouette disappeared behind that closed door, the obedient mask on his face instantly shattered, replaced by an absolutely bone-chilling cold gaze. Did she genuinely believe a grand party could revive a heart that had been bleeding dry for 7 straight years? Not a chance. This upcoming engagement would not be Serafina's proud little crown. Instead, it would be the ultimate stage for Thomas to personally light the fuse, burning this toxic romance straight to ashes in front of everyone. Stick around, because a spectacular twist in this great escape has just begun.